What is going on, everyone? I hope you are all having a fantastic day. So if you watch a lot of my videos, then you probably know that I am a huge fan of the whole fintech and online banking movement. And honestly, that's because not only do I really like what a lot of these fintech companies are offering, but I also just really dislike the large national banks and love seeing the little guy win for once. But there's still a small handful of established national banks that are doing a decent job of adapting to the modern world of banking, one of which being Marcus by Goldman Sachs. So today let's break down everything that they have to offer on the banking side of things and see if they are truly keeping up with all of these awesome fintech companies like SoFi, Ally, and Chime, just to name a few, or if they should just be left in the dust and forgotten about like Wells Fargo. Alright, let's jump right into it. So in case you didn't know, Goldman Sachs is old, like really old. And while they have been in the financial industry for a long time and clearly have a lot of experience in it, the large rebranding of many of their products under the name Marcus is a fairly new development, and I believe it just happened around 2016. So while Goldman Sachs has been around for a while, these are fairly new products, so just keep that in mind. The other thing I want to note right off the bat is that while I personally consider Marcus by Goldman Sachs to be a national bank, or at least I put them in the same category as those national banks, they don't actually have a widespread network of physical brick and mortar locations. So while I don't personally have a problem with that, that is just another thing that you will want to keep in mind. Alright, so Goldman Sachs, and specifically the Marcus brand, offers a number of financial products, including banking options, investment accounts, loans, and a ton of other financial tools and resources. So I'll leave a link to the website in the description below if you do want to check out all of those different financial products that they offer, but in this video, I specifically want to take a look at the Marcus by Goldman Sachs High Yield Savings Account. So a high yield savings account used to mean like 2% or more at least, but because of the way interest rates have gone recently, that's kind of been crushed into the ground. However, thankfully, many of these companies have slowly started to increase those interest rates again, and currently, the high yield savings account from Marcus by Goldman Sachs does offer 0.5%, which isn't great, but in the grand scheme of things and where interest rates are at currently, 0.5% is pretty decent. Plus, if you compare those numbers to other national banks like Chase, Citi, and of course, Wells Fargo, that's like 50 times what they offer, since most of them just give you 0.01%, which is basically nothing. Keep in mind that that means if you had $1 million in this account, you would make a whopping $100 in interest. And there's probably a number of reasons why Goldman Sachs is able to offer such a higher interest rate when compared to those national banks, but the main reason is that they don't have to maintain those physical brick and mortar locations, as we've talked about in previous videos, meaning they can offer that higher interest rate instead of dumping all of that money into expensive, overpriced buildings that most of us probably never go to anymore anyways. I also have to give Marcus by Goldman Sachs some bonus points because they have this awesome calculator on their website where you can actually plug in some numbers and look at how much interest you would earn with a Marcus by Goldman Sachs high yield savings account. But the best part is that they totally dig into Bank of America, Chase, Citi, and of course Wells Fargo, and directly show you how little interest you would earn if you had the same numbers with those banks. So this high yield savings account has no fees, which is a must in my opinion, and they have no minimum balance requirements or no minimum deposit requirements, which is a really nice plus as well. They also have a same-day transfer tool up to $100,000, which I have not personally been able to test myself, but if that is true, then that is pretty awesome if you ask me, because a lot of other banks, even fintech companies, can take several days to make those larger transfers. This account is also fully FDIC insured up to $250,000, and while I have not had to call them personally as far as customer support, I have found in my research that it sounds like it's pretty decent, and at least you're able to get someone on the phone 7 days per week. Now, since this is for the most part an online bank, their mobile app is extremely important, and while I'm not totally in love with the design, I do think it provides you with everything that you need for your basic banking needs, and if you compare this app to other mobile apps from other national banks, this is much more modern and is pretty intuitive and easy to use. So within the Marcus by Goldman Sachs app, which currently has 64,000 reviews with an average of 4.9 stars on iOS alone, you're able to track your balances, net worth, connect external bank accounts for banking as well as investments, see a breakdown of your portfolios if you are using the investment tools with them, as well as track your spending and savings by category, and take care of all of those basic banking needs like depositing checks and all of that good stuff. I will also mention that they do currently offer a high-yield certificate of deposit, also known as a CD, with terms as short as 6 months going all the way up to 6 years, and that one has a rate of 0.6% currently. And they also have a no penalty CD, which is one of my personal favorite financial tools, and while CDs are really not that great across the board right now because of where interest rates are at, it is nice that they offer that, and definitely something that I will be keeping an eye on in the future. Alright, so for the most part, I don't hate it, and I think there's a few things that they're definitely doing right that allow them to beat out many of those other national banks that I mentioned earlier, especially in terms of interest rates. But if I'm being completely honest, I would still have a hard time understanding why anyone would go with Marcus by Goldman Sachs over one of the many much more advanced and higher end fintech companies like SoFi, Chime, Ally, and even Discover. Not only is the design of all of those platforms that I just mentioned significantly better in my opinion, but they also have a lot more features. Several of them offer higher interest rates, even higher than 0.5% currently, and if your argument is that you'd like to have all of your financial tools under one umbrella, well, a company like SoFi has banking, investing, loans, credit cards, budgeting, and a ton of other financial tools right from an app on your smartphone. And the other huge difference here is that from what I can tell, and at least in my research, Marcus by Goldman Sachs does not have a checking account, meaning this is just a savings account, and there isn't any way to spend your money or even access it easily via an ATM. And while I understand that this is a savings account and there isn't usually that kind of feature with a savings account, I would once again argue that the hybrid account options that many fintech companies currently offer you give you the best of both worlds with a higher interest rate like a savings account, but still giving you the ability to write checks and spend your money via a debit card and even withdraw that money at free ATMs. So here's what I would say about all of this. If you currently have a bank account with one of those large national banks like Wells Fargo, Chase, or one of those, then maybe something like Marcus by Goldman Sachs would be a good stepping stone if you're not completely ready to ditch your national bank and jump to one of these modern fintech companies. But in my opinion, I just don't see the advantage here. I mean, I love the investing tools, especially their automated investing tool, which is always a huge plus in my opinion, but we're not talking about investing today, and as far as banking is concerned, I think that Marcus by Goldman Sachs leaves a lot to be desired. The interest rate is okay, but there's no way to quickly access your money, there's no way to spend your money, the banking features in the app are pretty surface level, and overall, there's countless features that many fintech companies offer that are just non-existent with Marcus by Goldman Sachs. So I like to make these reviews on these larger national banks every now and then, just to remind myself how fantastic companies like SoFi, Chime, and Ally are, and why I believe they are truly the future of banking. And if you're still on the fence about all of this, then definitely check out my video that I made on why you should ditch your national bank, and I'll leave a link to that up here because I think that will definitely convince you. So I would love to know your thoughts on the Marcus by Goldman Sachs high-yield savings account and how you feel it stacks up against not only national banks, but also against many of the fintech companies that I mentioned in today's video. Personally, I don't think it's that great, but I know that everyone has different financial needs and different opinions on this sort of thing, so I would love to know your thoughts on all of this down in the comment section below. If you did get value out of this content and you want to help support me, the easiest way to do that is actually checking out some of my favorite financial tools down in the description below, many of which will give you some free money, which we always love. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future. And of course, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to watch my video. I really do appreciate that so much. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.